Hi everyone, welcome to Sabrina Sumbry Show. I am Sabrina Sumbry. On this show, well, I have a student who's here on spring break who we're going to talk to, and I have someone who's near and dear to my heart. Take a look at this. Phoenix City, Russell County, Lee County, please welcome my guest, Adoria Hughes, to the show. Adoria, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are certainly welcome. What can you tell the audience about yourself?
Well, I am a freshman broadcast journalism major at Troy University in Troy, Alabama. I graduated from Northside High School back here in 2016, and I decided to pursue my major in journalism. It's something that I've always wanted to do since my sophomore year of high school. I did my first internship at WTVM Newsletter 9, which is a station in Columbus, Georgia. And then after that, I attended the University of Georgia, had a summer camp for students, high school students who wanted to get involved in journalism. So I attended that camp, and then my senior year, I was the lead person over my school's broadcast, and we called it Northside News Network. And after that,
You have been busy, young lady.
Yes.
And you're still going. Okay,
Yes,
let me ask you, as a freshman in college, how have you adjusted to being a freshman? How has your freshman year been?
My freshman year, it's been a learning experience. What I mean by learning experience, it's just been different, adjusting from high school work to college work. You know, in high school, I had so many different assignments. I had homework and just a lot more assignments to give you a better opportunity to have more grades versus in college. You know, sometimes in some classes you only have a midterm and a final, and that's 2 grades, and your final grade comes from that. And then just trying to transition, being a freshman in college, is getting used to walking a lot.
That's
You have to
right.
walk
That's
everywhere.
right.
But that's good though, because
That's right.
you know the
exercise is
the
good for
exercise
you.
is good.
I know you are an only child, right?
Yes.
How has your mom adjusted to the empty nest?
I think she's still adjusting. I think it's different from her. It's different for her because sometimes she'll get used to me, being away. Then when I come home, on spring break or Christmas break, and she'll get used to seeing me. Then when it's time for me to go, she's just I have to readjust again. So she's just I have to continue readjusting.
Like most moms who send their kids off to college, you know, it's adjusting for the entire family, really. I remember you telling me that you didn't have a roommate. Now, when I was going to college, you didn't have an option to have or not have it. Freshmen had roommates. So what is the procedure nowadays?
Well, Troy, the main campus, they have different dormitory styles that you can choose from. The dorm that I stay in is the newest dorm on campus, so all of the units are single units, and it comes with a full-size bed. You get your own bathroom, TV, and like I said, it's the newest.
Really?
And then that's the only dorm on campus where you can have a room to yourself.
Really?
And then all the other dorms are they're still up to date. They have one called Trojan Village where you have your own room, but you share a bathroom with someone else and you have roommates. So I guess it's just, there's different dorms for each style. Some people, they have to have roommates. Then there's some people who are just no, I want a room to myself. For me, at first I did want roommates.
Okay.
But housing is very competitive on campus. Freshmen get first priority. So I had wanted to have some roommates, but then when I got a room to myself, I was like, okay, this is nice. And it works out because when it comes to studying and just having to focus on work, I have a room to myself, so I don't have to worry about going to the library or anything, and I can stay focused.
Good. You know what, I was talking about the roommate situation. Roommates are typically, I guess, the first people you learn to socially bond with. So for students who don't have roommates, how do you make friendships?
Well, I'm a very sociable person, and I talk, and so majority of the time, believe it or not, you can find people in your class, because there are classes where you will have group projects, and just on the first couple of days of class, I normally talk to people around me and I get to know people. Then just going to the cafeteria, for lunch or dinner, there's so many people, and it's many opportunities to meet people.
That's
and
good.
Getting involved on campus that can really help you.
Let's talk about your courses. What courses are you taking as a freshman?
Okay, so this semester, for my spring semester, I take English 1102, Intro to Radio and Television, Math, speech, which is a class on public speaking. And I feel like I take one more course. I just can't think of it. I want to say that's it because I take 15 credit hours. Now my freshman, I'm still a freshman, but like my first semester, I took 14 hours and I had to take orientation, which is a class that most freshmen have to take at every university, and it just helps you like learn the history of where you go to school, and it just helps you just adjust to being.
What's changed?
Yes, it helps you adjust.
Which courses are your favorite courses?
Well, I have to say, believe it or not, I actually do enjoy my math class this semester.
Really? Most people find math challenging, so that's amazing.
I like it. In high school, I liked algebra. Like, I remember my freshman year of high school, I really enjoyed math because it was algebra. So I'm just like, it's my first year of college and I'm taking math. And I actually do like it. And then I love my intro to radio and television class because that's my part of my major. So I love learning about the history of radio and television and how like technology has changed from back in the day to now.
Where do you think that fascination for television and communication came from?
Well, growing up, I always watched the news, and I love fashion, and I love fashion, and then I like being able to talk. Like, I remember all throughout school, like, I used to always like get the little marks. They used to give marks to us because I just love to talk, and I was just like, you know, at first I wanted to do nursing, but I didn't think the healthcare field was for me. And then I looked more into journalism, and I said that's something that I could do because it could also, not only will I be like on TV, but my role as a person on TV, that will help me make an impact on communities and become involved.
Are there any classes that you find challenging?
Well, one class that I did find challenging, it doesn't relate to my major, but biology.
What do you do? How do you keep up when it's challenging? Do you have to have a tutor, or do you? There
are tutoring services on campus. Like I know Troy, the main campus, is the place that we can go if you're having trouble with English or math. You can go there and it's free. And there are other students there that have been there and done that, or just may know a little bit more, and you can go there and get help. Now, like I said, my challenging class was biology. I struggled with biology in high school, and I think it was it's so much information, and I was just like, it was hard.
You'll do fine. I know you will. You're a smart girl. I'd like to know, what do you predict, or how far along do you predict to be the outcome for graduation for you? How long do you think you?
I actually think I hope to graduate college in 2020. That's like my freshman class for 2020. So I'm just like, that would be really nice to graduate, even if I graduated before then. But I was like, 2020, I want to hopefully be walking across the stage in Trojan Arena. So do you have to stick
with the courses, the curriculum, in order to do that?
Yes, ma'am. Just stick with my courses and do well and get the credits, and hopefully I will.
Yes, you will. What are your plans after graduation?
Well, after graduation, I hope to maybe work for a news company and be a news reporter or a news anchor, or both. Yes. So I'm hoping that after college, I'll be able to get a job as a news reporter. I would love to come back home and work here in Columbus. Or if not, I've actually adjusted to like the Montgomery area since it's close to Troy, and I go there often. So I would love to work in Montgomery or just wherever God takes me.
You know what, that was my next question. If you were willing to relocate, or did you want to be at home? That is amazing. You know what, Adoria, I know that if you keep God and if you choose good over evil, God will take care of you. He will give you the desire of your heart. I know that you I know that you have a great future in store for yourself. Here you are on spring break.
Yes.
Think about that. Spring break for a college student.
Yes.
You do the math there.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you took time out of your schedule to come and be with us. Are there any final comments you'd like to make?
As far as my final comments, for anybody watching,
that's right,
is to just, if you know there's something that you want to do, just stick with it and just follow your dreams and your passion, because that's what I'm doing, and just try to become involved like as much as you can. I love learning about journalism, so any step that I can take to learn more about what I want to do or just becoming involved, like it's a blessing. So.
Well, I'm going to keep you in my prayers. I'm gonna keep your family in my prayers, and I know everything is gonna work out for you. Again, I thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome to come back and let us know how you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. That would be great.
Thank you. All right, you guys, stay right there. And up next, you're going to meet my next guest who, well, this next guest is kind of personal for me. You'll see.
Hi, I'm Meg.
Hi, I'm Bryce.
Are you still looking for some furniture? Central Home Furnishings is your one-stop shopping center for all your new furniture.
Check out the reclining power motion furniture and lift chairs. Just in are collegiate rockers and camera recliners with matching sofas. Come see our Englander Sleep Center and take home a set of Englander bedding for a good night's sleep.
Be sure and tell them Bryce.
And Meg sent you.
Phoenix City, Russell County, Lee County. I'm so excited about this next guest. You see, I've been knowing this next guest for 46 years. So this next guest is kind of personal for me. May I introduce to you guys Phoenix City's first African-American Russell County Coroner, Arthur Sumbry Jr., AKA Pee-wee. Pee-wee, welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sabrina, for having me here on your show today.
Okay, I certainly think. Let's talk about maybe growing up for us. How far back can you go? Do you remember how you got the name Pee-wee? I'm going to kind of share this with the audience.
A little bit. I was told that grandmom gave it to her, and she said that I was so little, I was like a runt. She named me Pee-wee.
And you know what? That name has stuck since you were a baby. Yes, it was our grandmother who gave you that name, and she thought you were, because you were the smallest in the bunch of the grandchildren, she thought you were a little runt and you wouldn't grow. So she said, you're just a cute little Pee-wee. And from that time on, everybody started calling you, instead of calling you Pee-wee, I was calling you Junior. We all switched to calling you Pee-wee. And then you grew up, where'd you go to school? How was school for you?
I went to Mother Mary Mission. That's where I first attended my elementary education, then on to South Roy, and of course to Central, and on to Gupton Jones Mortuary College of Science. Okay,
let's go to Gupton Jones. Okay. I certainly missed you when you were gone at that period. I think about the times when you were gone, so there were people who had to fill in for you at that time. And I remember, I'm going to share this with our audience. I remember I would be working doing the flowers sometimes, and I usually, when I worked rather relaxed and very comfortable with maybe a headscarf and some flip-flops. and anytime our dad would get in need of another funeral director or just an assistant, he would look at me in all of my get up, so to say, and say, okay, he called me BB, okay, BB, you got a ride. And I look at him and think, are you kidding me? Look at me. But he was just that type of person. It didn't matter to him. He just needed your help. And I certainly do thank you, because when people call on you, you're just like our father. You're available to help people. Now, when you finished Gupton Jones, what happened with your life after that?
After I finished Gupton Jones, I returned back home. I have to tell everybody, my dad didn't make me become a mortician. That's the first thing I have to say.
Okay.
I was high on singing, or at least thought I could sing. So, he gave me an opportunity, and he was delighted, he and Mom both. And when I came back, I said, it's time for me to dedicate myself to the family business. And coming back, I'll be honest, Dad had me just running from when my feet hit back to Phoenix City, right. It was there moving forward.
That's right. I think he knew he could rely on you. And again, we are several years apart, 7 to be exactly. But you, I can honestly say, have been the most responsible, the most accountable. You found your sweetheart, and you married early. And that in itself says a lot. It's remarkable. So how did you find your sweetheart? You want to tell us about that?
Oh boy. I actually met Celeste, that's my wife, and Adoria and Armani, those are my 2 beautiful daughters.
That's right.
I met her when she was actually in the 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in the 10th grade.
See, I didn't know that.
Yes, I was actually in high school and she was like in junior high.
Wow.
And she told a fib to me.
Okay.
She told me that she went to Baker High School. I was attending Central High. And I asked her what grade she was in, and she said it's the same grade that you're in.
Okay.
And from that point on, we became best of friends. But I tell everybody, we went on our separate ways, but we never stopped being friends. And when we got grown, and I'll say maybe around the age of 21 for her, about 23 for me, we united. And from there on, it's been a successful bliss. We've been married for 21 wonderful years.
Wow. So how do you, I mean, what's the reason, who's accountable for the longevity of the marriage? Because a lot of people don't stay together as long as you have. So how is it that you've endured and been through that for such a long time?
The first thing is, I tell everyone, you need to be friends with the person that you claim to love the most, because if you're friends, then you know how to talk to your friend. But a spouse or someone you just think that you fell in love with, not necessarily, because you may have come from a different pathway than that person, and then knowing them as a friend, you can talk to them under any circumstances. And Celeste and I tell everybody, you know, it's one of those things where if I put my socks on the floor, she may be upset and I may be upset, but she'll pick it up and won't say anything about it at that particular time. So it's loving people through their imperfections, which I think gives you the perfect marriage.
It's like, when I look at you, I think, God, how is it that you picked my own brother, that he's blessed and he has a stable life and he keeps moving? But I'm sure there have been a lot of sacrifices to get you where you are also. Is that correct?
There have been.
I want to go back just a little bit, because I remember some of the stories you would share when you first came out of college. And you remember you were trying to learn the roads in the county, and I want you to share one particular road where you guys, you remember, you know the story I'm talking about.
Okay.
So tell us about when you were first starting out learning those roads in the county.
And I got to say thanks, Dad, for that right there. Learning the county roads, and it helped me even become where I am today.
Okay.
I got home, and Dad would say, well, you know, we're going to have a funeral in such and such place off of County Road 18, so to speak. Well, I would know what the road would be, but not necessarily County Road 18. I might go County Road 24. Anyway, we had a funeral, and everybody was waiting on me to get there, and I assume everybody had already been there, and the hearse hadn't arrived yet, and the hearse is supposed to be the first at the funeral.
Okay.
Well, we were the honor of guests. We were the honorees, and we were late.
Okay.
And, you know, Dad, he was nice to me about it. He was like, you know, where did you go? And I said, I was trying to find a church. And he says, we've been waiting on you a long time. Instead of, I don't think we had cell phones, but I didn't stop at a payphone and I didn't call anybody. So he actually sent somebody to find me. And I thank God. I think it took about an hour or so. And, you know, that family, they forgave me. You know, I was a young man, but we moved on, and certainly that wasn't the first or the last time that I was late for a funeral, but it did teach me how to find places and landmarks and things of that nature. So.
And it was a part of, I guess, learning at that time also. I'm going to share this story because I found it so funny that you shared the story with me that when I think you and our younger brother, Artie, were in the hearse together, and you guys were going, I guess, on the road trying to go to the church, and you guys actually drove past the church, and there were members of the church standing on the church ground watching you guys drive past the church. I just thought that was so funny that people were standing there waiting on you guys and saw you guys drive past, but I'm sure they forgave you guys for that also, knowing that you were young and had to learn your way. How long did it take you to learn those roads, though?
I don't know if I ever learned all those roads, to be honest, but I've come pretty close. And believe it or not, again, it helped me tremendously, even in the profession I am now, being the coroner, because I kept saying, Dad, even those times I got lost, I found myself back on some of those same roads, and I was like, okay, this road is connected to another road, so just ride around. He used to tell us all the time, if you don't know where you're going, act like you know where you're going.
Okay. What did you learn from Daddy? What's one of the things that you learned from him?
The main thing is how to be a servant and how to sacrifice things. Being in the funeral business, being a coroner, being around families.
Okay.
And I tell everyone it's almost like a ministry. It's being able to help others through tough times when they're at their lowest peak sometimes in life, and you just being a leaning post for a particular family and saying, sometimes you don't have to say anything, just being that shoulder and just giving them the shoulder to cry on, and they'll talk to you and they'll tell you all their problems, and you said, really, I didn't do anything. I was just there to listen to this person. There. So yes.
That's so amazing. I guess I want to jump on to politics.
Okay.
What was the motivation of you saying, okay, because you know what, sometimes kids fall into their father's footsteps or mother's footsteps, and sometimes they just go off and do their own thing. Now you didn't run for city council. Of course I did, and you know what happened. We're not going to talk about that. But you decided to get in politics on your own terms. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I remember I was about 35 years old, and I guess at the time, the coroner who was the coroner, she had been appointed and filled in her his term when he was in office, and he had passed away. And I guess she had done the work, done a good job of being coroner, but she wanted to go elsewhere. And the opportunity became available for me. So at that time, of course, we prayed. I prayed with the entire family, not just my family, but mom, dad, and you guys. We remember. And after we went in prayer, God, he showed me it was my opportunity.
Okay.
In fact, I felt that it was a calling for me at that point in time, because it had never been done before.
Okay.
And I always tell people to become or be the first. Sometimes you're met with obstacles that people don't think you're going to meet head on.
Sure.
But I haven't regretted. I love the people of Russell County.
Okay.
They have put me in office for 3 terms, and I am most grateful to all the families that I serve and my staff that do a wonderful job of just caring about our people and our loved ones.
Thank you so much. And, you know, of course, I'm certainly proud of you, and I'm proud of your success. I'm proud of your humility. What's next for you, you think?
Well, the sky's the limit, because I always tell everybody, if politics is not where I need to be, however God leads me, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
Do I see myself being the coroner? If it's according to his will.
Okay.
If he wants me to do something else, that's going to be according to his will also.
Okay, we received that, little brother. We received that. But you're not only a servant to the community and to your family, you're also a servant in the church, which I find most amazing. That's most amazing. Because, you know, you and I, we both came up, you know, in the church, but you are really dedicated. And again, you're just that responsible, accountable person. Can you tell the audience what it is that you do for your church?
Sure. I'm the chairperson at our church on the Deacons Ministry. And certainly I think our church, I got to say a shout out to Pleasant Grove. I love you guys dearly. Our family church, and it has been for over 100 years or more. And it's just one of those things where being a servant, and sometimes people say they look forward to retiring. I always tell them, being a servant, you never retire. Your work is never completed until God calls you home. So in one way or another, I'll continue to be a servant for our fellow men, whether it's through church, whether it's through our community, working throughout the schools. And I always tell everyone, I love this community. I'm one of the I know officials that you're going to see me at ball games. You're going to see me at functions as far as plays. Everywhere I can be for Russell County, I promised the people I would be there even before I became coroner. Thank
you so much. I want to talk, when you say ball games, I don't know if you played sports. I don't remember you playing sports when we were younger, or when you were younger. Where did this interest in sports come from? Well, I played up until the 9th grade. Okay. And Dad made me a proposition. Okay. You know, I was small. I thought that I could play anything, play football and basketball. And he said, if you take on the family business and learn how to do a little work, you get opportunity to make money. Well, from there, I went for the money and I left the sports alone. Okay. Okay. Yes. That's when you said Dad, I think about how, you know, we're really big on Christmas and Christmas celebration. And I think about, as a little kid, I remember Christmas, I would yell and scream all over, it's Christmas. And Dad would always have something more than what we asked for. You remember, you know the story I want you to tell, okay? Tell our audience about the story of what Dad did to you. My dad, he told me one Christmas, in fact, it was a couple days before Christmas, I had a go-kart, Dukes of Hazzard go-kart. I forgot the name of it, but generally, and I loved that go-kart a lot. You did. And it was about maybe a week or two away from Christmas where my father told me, he said, son, there's somebody less fortunate than you that needs that go-kart. And I was reluctant because I was probably about 11 or 12 years old to give it. But I ended up giving it after I cried, of course. And he just says, God has something better for you in store. Well, it came up to Christmas morning, and I had gotten a new bike, and I was excited at that time. I rode the bike in the neighborhood with all the kids, and I had a lot of fun. He all of a sudden told me to come in the house, and he says, well, we got to go to the funeral home, and we got to do some work. I'm thinking, man, are you crazy? Today's Christmas morning, all of my friends are playing and doing all these things the kids do. And he says, no, we got to go up there and we're going to clean up. So we go to clean up, and I started in the back with about 2 rooms and cleaned up for about an hour, so I was ready to go. He says, no, you got one more area to clean up, and this was the chapel. And everybody knows the chapel is pretty big at the funeral home. Right. So as I clean up, I'm crying, and I'm thinking, I'm ready to go home now. And I opened Christmas Day, you know, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I open up the door, and I see the biggest dune buggy that a child could ever wish for. And he says, I'm going to have to follow you home on the road, on the street, because you can't ride it on the truck. And I always tell everybody this story means so much to me, because what it taught me to do is somebody that's less fortunate than yourself.
That's right.
To give, and to give in a big way, because you never know what other blessing God has for you. And I told my children this story, and I told it in church too, and I just tell people all the time, sacrifice what you think is the best, give of your best, and God has something tremendously just greater than what you can ever imagine you have.
And that's true. And you know, along with so many more things that he did, not just for the community, but he remembered us, his children, his family, to come back and, you know, remember to do things for us, to put a smile on our face. And you know what, I'm thinking about when Dad, anytime you ask him how he was doing, it was always, I'm good, I'm fine. But if someone called him and said they needed something, he was always on it, because he was always loyal. He was always looking out for someone else. And for some reason, I think sometimes that spirit will somewhat land on people he's around, because I'm sure it landed on you, where you get the spirit where you want to help and do for other people. And I'm like that occasionally, that I want to help people. What has it been like? A dad to daughter, you know, my relationship, I'm close to our father, but what has it been with you and your 3 girls? How has that been?
I'll tell you this, and
Yes.
Celeste, my wife, she does agree. All 3 are daddy's girls. They take care of me, and when I tell you this, their dad can do no wrong. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
that's right.
But anyway, those little girls, they mean the most to me, because they try their best to please their dad. And a lot of times I think, and I said, well, when they get older, are they going to look after or try to have a husband that measures up to their dad? And I don't know how well I measure up to my wife, but I always tell people I'm a work in progress, that I'll never stop trying. So, you know, those girls, just to look into their eyes and not to have boys, you know, I said, God gives you what you need. So
Absolutely. He'll give you what you want also.
Yeah,
but
certainly those 3 little ladies of mine, they mean the world to me.
So has it softened your heart, having girls, has it softened your heart? You appreciate women a little bit more, or your wife, because no women. Has that softened your heart? Do you have a better understanding for girl and female species? Let me just say that.
I think I do.
I'm sure you do.
One of them just had a birthday, Adoria, 13 yesterday.
Happy birthday, Adoria.
So yes, we're going into a new era of being a teenager, and it has its challenges. But just dealing with the girls, I try not to be as harsh on them as I should be.
Okay.
I think their mother says that I'm a little easy with them, but it's just because I don't want them to feel intimidated of any man. And I want them to respect the man, but not to ever feel intimidated by one.
Right. And when you say that, I think, you know, we were quite protected. Me probably more so than you, but and we tend to protect our own. We tend to protect our own. So maybe it's that protective spirit inside of you, and not just our own. We protect everyone. You know, we don't like for anyone to hurt or feel pain. It's just something embedded in our spirit that we don't like to see people suffering. I don't know. Maybe that comes from, you know, generations of our forefathers who just didn't like to see other people hurting or in pain. We have just a couple of minutes here. Trying to figure out which way I want to go with this. What advice would you give for maybe the next young man who's looking at you and wants to do what Pee Wee has done? What do you think?
I would tell him, first of all, of course, and we hear this all the time, but you can't do anything without God first. And then the next is family. You want to have a desire to make your family, and a family names mean something to you. Some people say it doesn't, but it does. It does mean a lot to you. That's right. You want to uphold that which is good of your family. And if it's not so positive, let it start with you being the one to change the identity of the family if things aren't going your way. And to be in my footsteps, and I always tell people, I could never even put on the shoes of my grandfather or my dad. I just pray one day that I can put on their socks. And if I can wear their socks, then I know that I'll be somewhat in the ball game. So I've been truly blessed so far.
I certainly thank you for coming out and supporting me. And hey, folks, we had a great time. You got to learn a little bit about myself and about my brother. So as I always say, I pray that you have sweet, sweet dreams, a big life, and peace of mind. Till next time, you guys.